Welcome to another episode of the Married Game Podcast. We're the voice you trust when it comes to lust. We are who you hire when she lacks desire. And sometimes, just sometimes, relationships can get messy. But you are in good hands with Keith and Jesse.
Genius.
Yeah, I need a bag, bruh. Send it through quickly. I'm making his dog like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, I told him I'ma hit it out of stands. I deserve another 100.
Yes.
You like that one, don't you? That one has a snap to it. That one has a ring.
Let's start off every podcast with that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Unless I come up with a better one.
Oh, that was so good.
Well, that's because I've done 20 of them. 21 might be better.
Brainstorm. Just trying them all.
I do like that one, though, because it is true. Relationships at times, they do get messy. And they are in good hands with Keith and Jesse. Okay, you had a topic that you're pretty fired up about in the sense of it's what we probably struggle with the most. It's probably what every couple struggles with the most. And let's dive into it, find out why it happens. Let's look at some examples and let's talk about it. What is this topic that you want to talk about?
This topic is everybody fights in their relationship, and we do too. It's how do you come together afterwards? So you fight and you try to make that fight shorter and shorter over time, and you try to make that reconnection shorter and shorter every time.
Yeah.
So when we used to fight, it would last, a couple days, a week, even like we would not even look at each other. I'd be in my room, and I can't believe we even let it be like that. So now when we fight, the fight gets shorter and the reconnection time gets shorter.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
That's a great question. How do you have such amazing eyebrows is another question that people watching the video.
Maui Browie. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Maui Browie.
Actually, yeah.
There's a Maui Browie?
Yeah.
What is a Maui Browie?
I think her name's.
That's who does your brows?
Yeah, Maui Browie on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Maui Browie on Instagram. Thank you, Maui. Shout out to Maui Browie on Instagram. Woo,
and
woo.
Ashley for Botox.
Boom. You got really amazing eyebrows.
Yeah.
So this separation, this disconnection, and then this repairing the relationship. There's been a lot of studies about how important repairing is. That none greater than the Gottman Institute, where they had thousands of people come in. They checked their what's the thermometer? Not thermometer. What's their temperature? They checked their temperature, their vitals, and they had thousands of people come over for like 20 or 30 years. And they would watch as they would tear and then try and repair. And they use the term called a bid for reconnection. And I know every couple makes these bids for reconnections. I have found that usually one person in the couple tends to make more bids for connection or reconnection than the other one. I think that's probably true.
Maybe, or it's actually even recognizing your partner's bid for connection.
Yeah, and what is it? What does that look like? Yeah.
And even if you recognize it and receiving it and going along with it too, that's another way.
Yeah, so you recognize it and then you can stonewall and be like, no, I'm not. They need to suffer for a little longer. They need to think about what they did. Whatever these weird ideas that run through all of our heads are.
Yeah.
But one of the analogies and one of the stories that they share from the book and from their work is how a bid for connection oftentimes isn't like, hey, I would like to make a bid for connection.
Right.
Which
that would be better, wouldn't it? But we don't do that.
Ooh, we should try that.
I would love to reconnect with you. How do we do that? I mean, actually, you have said that maybe something like that.
I'm probably really good at this. But
you are better at it. You are better at it.
But when I'm not connected to you, my answer is fuck off.
Yeah.
I
do actually make the bids for connection, like, oh, would you like something to eat? Like, yes. I'm trying to reach out, and that's the way I do it.
It is. Okay.
And sometimes you take it, and sometimes you don't take it.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right?
And it's because we want the other person to see what the other person needs to see. The analogy they used was somebody sitting on the couch and then somebody looking out the window and go, oh, look, there's a bird in the tree. That is that subtle bid for connection, reconnection. And you do that. You actually do that. And you do it in subtle ways.
Oh, you recognize it.
I do.
Thank you.
Now that you brought it to my attention. Yeah, thank you. And you didn't have any judgy tone, or you didn't have any bullshit tone. Like, how good? Like, dude, let's do this.
I love when you get rid of your tone.
Dude, we're
right?
reconnecting so well right now. No, I think so many couples really struggle with this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, and if you don't repair it, it just gets worse.
And
worse,
then you start piling your
and
fights
worse,
on top of it.
and worse. And then another thing.
Yeah.
And then it really starts to spiral out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just analyze some things that we can look at maybe in our life that examples of, hey, where we have learned to make bids for reconnections, or any examples. Do you have any examples that come off the top of your head?
Like, I know that when we fight, when we get everything off our chest, like say we're fighting, right? And I know that you're upset about something. If I come into this conversation and say, okay, tell me everything, and I don't like try to defend or say, well, no, and I just let you say your thing.
Yeah.
I know you feel a lot better right after.
I really do.
Like instantly.
It
And
does.
vice versa. When I got to say, even though I know things are a little exaggerated or a little harsh, and you don't take them too personal because I'm upset, right? And I've done that for you, then I feel a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a way to reconnect because you've gotten everything off your chest.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
We have done this in the past, but I know we just did it recently, was like kind of go over like these fun questions because you start giggling about things. Or, oh, you nailed it. Or I feel like, oh, you know me, right? Like going over questions to each other, just like some.
Okay, so we just did that.
Yeah.
We there's this book.
But I felt connected to you when we did that.
I noticed you started doing that.
Because I'm like, oh, you're explaining why you answered it. I just let you, like if you got it right or not, I just let you.
Yeah.
But you were explaining like other like in-depth things. I'm like, oh, he knows me.
He does.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Then I feel connected to you because you know me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
We were talking about, we had a client that we were on with before we jumped on here. And I feel like a lot of issues actually are more roommate issues than soulmate issues. And the roommate issues block the soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned recently, I think this is a good story that would really tie into this. I have a private chef that makes all my meals, and I love his food.
Yeah.
You smell it now and like, oh fuck. But I crave it. I can't, as soon as we're done here, I'm going home. I'm gonna eat one. I love them so much.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I put it on a plate. I put it in my toaster oven. I put it for 12 minutes. I come back. When I'm done, I wash the plate. I put it away. But because the little particles at the end, when the water hits the thing, it would splash out into the sink. I'd wash everything, and I didn't realize that there was little particles in the sink.
Like just for personal reference, like I like my sink clean, and so I wash it because it's a large sink. You know, and it just would look gross.
Do you mind if water drops are in there, or do you like it dry?
No, water drops are fine.
Okay. Well,
Glad
some
you
people.
asked. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
It's just food everywhere that sticks to it, and then it hardens, and I'm like scrubbing off the sink now.
Okay, so here's where a guy, and we had a client do this today. This is
Yeah.
why this is such a perfect example, actually. Check. Yeah, we got good volume. We got
Oh,
good
we're
audio.
good.
We got
All
a good
right.
volume. We got a red dot over there.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. We got all sorts of red dots around here. Okay, the attitude for most men, and my ego probably thought, I didn't think this way, but subconsciously I may have, was, holy shit, dude. You don't have to cook my meal. You don't have to wash my dish. You don't have to do shit. And I leave 3 little crumbs, 4 little crumbs, 18 little crumbs, however many crumbs, in the sink, and you're going to complain about that? Pause. That's what every guy fucking thinks. Our guy was telling us about how he cleans everything up, but he sometimes will leave some lemon juice. Like, it's no big deal. It's lemon juice. Like, pause. Here's why it's a fucking problem. A, you didn't actually come to me with any tone whatsoever. You just simply made a request.
Yep.
Hey, do you think you could wash this out? I heard you're not good enough. You're fucking up. And rather than praise me for the 99% of the stuff to do, you're complaining about the one. Well, there fucking she goes again.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I heard it I hear it from our clients and go, what are you doing, bro? Like, this is a roommate issue. That's that.
Mm-hmm.
The next piece is, if you had a guy roommate that you were living with and he asked you to do the same thing, hey man, I really like a clean sink. Do you think you could do it? We would all be like, of course.
Yeah.
If you had a gal that was the hottest girl you'd ever seen, and she's like, hey, I want to come over and have sex on your countertop, but I don't want to do it right now because there's some crumbs in your sink, you'd be like, hold on a second, let me get those crumbs right up right now. Hey, you're coming right up. And you would do it. So it's like, if your best friend who is humping you and who does care about you and is thinks about you and loves you and goes out of the way for you. As a roommate, ask you, hey, do you mind? It just means a blessing for me. The reframe is, why wouldn't I just want to be a blessing to my roommate who happens to be this beautiful lady that I like having sex with too?
Yeah.
I think that's a reframe that a lot of guys don't understand. And not that has to do with the bid for reconnection, but oftentimes the bid for connection is denied or put because they don't realize it's just a roommate issue. And my guys don't think like, am I a good roommate? Why do I leave shit around? What am I doing here? And the reason they don't like is because when the ladies are typically cleaner than dudes, especially in the kitchen. There's probably some slobby ladies out there. I don't meet a lot. I haven't met a lot of slobby women.
That's good.
Yeah. I think because you can tell right away when you meet them if they're really slobby and you're like
other things aren't as kept up.
Yeah, they're just yeah. So the bid for reconnection is often very difficult because that ego piece goes to shit. She's asking me to clean out the sink. What is she, my mom? This is my fucking house. I can, I'll have crumbs where I want. I've thought shit like that before, only to realize that is true. It is your house. You could leave crumbs in there, and you could totally alienate and rift the relationship with your roommate to where she's like, he's such a fucking dick. Why wouldn't he do it's not do what I ask. Like we hear do what you ask as do what you're told.
Yeah.
Guys hear that. You telling me?
Yep.
No, you just asked. You just simply asked. I said, oh, okay. I at first, my ego was like, go fuck yourself.
And then you went through the whole like.
I had to go through the whole mechanism of like, Keith, you're acting like a real child here.
Yes.
But during these bids for reconnection, why do you think they're so hard? What happens in our mind that causes us to not reconnect right away? Because
ego, anger. I need time, and I've shortened that time, but I need time to process. Even like we have the conversations to connect again, and still need a little bit of time to be like, okay, he said this, he did understand. We're gonna move on. That's better, right? And sometimes when you talk, you're like, okay, you ready to have sex? You ready to do the thing? And I'm like, well, I just need a little bit more time. More time, I think, just to process. Yeah. But that's what goes on in my head when trying to reconnect.
I think what goes on in my head is if I make a bid for reconnection and you reject it, it's the same feeling of rejection like if when you're asking for anything. So it feels like if they deny it, they're like rejecting you as a human.
What would you want to hear?
I think what we said in the previous episode that we forgot to hit the record button on. When we talked about how amazing would it be if we said, hey, I'm making a bid for reconnection, or hey, I would love to reconnect. I would love to reconnect with you. But you know what? Because we both tried that, but it sounds
you're better at that.
But I don't know that I'm that great at it because I'm realizing as we're talking here, this is a great topic. This is a good topic.
We should put the camera on you all the time.
I know, right?
What are you going to say?
Go. My bid for reconnection is I'm trying to reconnect with you, you fucking dummy.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
I'm reconnecting now, and if you don't want to reconnect, well then fuck you, dude.
Yeah, fuck you again. Yeah.
It's like now or never. What? What are you selling?
100%.
But that's a dickhead way of doing it.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's a dickhead way of doing it.
You have done that in the past too.
100%. Yeah. I know for a fact I have done that.
And because I like I said, I need a little more time. Then you're like, fuck, like how much more time?
Yeah. But
you rush me.
But that's taker energy because now I need reconnection now.
Yeah.
Why aren't you reconnecting?
Yeah.
See? Your fault. It's like
oh my gosh, I love it. What else do you want to make here online?
Oh, dude, we should tell them about the patterns of arguments. The patterns of arguments are.
Oh my god,
this is the best. This is the best.
I hate this too. I hate it.
I hate that you do this. I know, right? So
tell them what you do.
I'll go on. Tell the crowd. Tell the audience. Tell them what you do. Get up there and tell them your truth. Okay, dude, this is so funny because something will piss us off. We're getting the argument about the thing.
Yeah.
And then the argument becomes about how we're handling the argument
How
about the
we
thing.
argued about the thing and how we argued and
See,
what
I told you
said.
this. Yeah, but when you said that,
You're
you
like,
said
I
this,
was
this,
just right
this.
here, and you said this. No, I didn't say that. That just happened. Then we argue about how we argue. That's bad.
Okay, so all of you dum-dums out there listening, you're
Don't
talking.
do that.
You're listening to some dum-dums here who do some dumb shit.
Oh yeah.
That is so funny that we do that. But you know what was interesting? We were reading this book, 350 quizzes for couples,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fun for us to answer each other because we got to see that we actually do know each other.
Yeah.
I did a quiz and I answered you, but you liked it how I was working through the process of like,
yeah.
okay, I know you really like broccoli. You've been eating a shit ton of broccoli lately, which by the way, why? Broccoli is
Make our
horrible.
whole house smell.
It makes it, the best was the comedian that said, broccoli is the physical version of a fart.
Yeah.
It looks like a fart. It tastes like a fucking fart. It smells like the house everybody's been farting.
I don't know why.
It's because it's not meant for you.
No, I just don't know why I want it lately.
I know, dude. It's
like,
such
why do I feel this need? It's like, women who want dirt.
Yeah.
Like
You mean
just feel this need to eat it.
you want dirty beets is what
Like,
you want.
I love beets.
Yeah, you do. So even us just doing this little quiz was like kind of connecting for us.
Yeah, made us laugh.
It was
and
like,
giggle,
oh, shit.
and it gets you out of your head. It gets you out of whatever you're working through, right? And you just like step out and have fun together again.
Okay, I know what we need to do then. There's like 2 or 3 books out there, or 2 or 3 companies. They call them the Adventure Challenge for couples, and it basically you open the book and you read, and you go, okay, and it asks questions. It's the thing that stirs up the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And most people are dog shit at you and I are actually amazing conversationalists, and even we struggle.
Yeah, when we're in our heads, we're like, real quiet and silent.
Yeah. We're so immature.
No.
How fucking dumb can 2 people be at times? And everybody listening is probably going, that is exactly how we argue, and that's how we think. It's the reconnection. It's the arguing. I think also a piece of the reconnection that's difficult is when you are in an argument, for some reason, either this is human nature or our society has built us and conditioned us to believe this, that there is a right and there is a wrong.
Yeah.
So your difference of opinion isn't just a difference of opinion, it's you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I haven't met anybody that's like, dude, I love being wrong. Like no one.
No, I mean, you say that, but I don't really think you mean that, really.
What?
You're like, show me it the other way. I love, what do you say? Like, show me the truth then. Whatever you want to like say, share the truth so you can be better.
Well, I think something that you and I have both realized is that when the other person listens without defense, we feel hurt. I instantly feel better.
Yeah.
As soon as like I just want to share this with you, and for you to be like, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I think you like that as well.
Yeah. Like I personally don't like the word sorry.
Yeah.
I know you do. And
Yeah.
we're working on that.
Yeah.
I don't want you to say sorry. I want you to say, I heard you and I understand this and this and this. Because,
Yeah.
That's it. Because it's not like I was in the wrong, you're in the wrong about your opinion, because it's your opinion. It's just tell me how you got that so I can understand you better.
Yeah.
That's for me.
Yeah, you know the funny thing about recording a podcast for 20 minutes and realizing you don't record it is when you're going and doing it again, I can't remember what we said and what we didn't. Did we talk about the sync yet? On this episode, or did we talk about the sync on the other episode? It's crazy, right?
I think we just talked about it on this one.
Okay, cool. All right, folks, you're talking to also 2 people that recorded a podcast without hitting the record button for 20 minutes, and
it was so good too.
It was so good.
I know.
And they probably think this is so good.
Well, I hope so.
Because they don't even know the other stuff. But I want them to always know that they're talking about some people that forget to hit the record button sometimes.
We're recording, right?
All right, we're recording. Is it working?
It's working.
Okay. So this bid for reconnection, our ego just fights like hell. But I think it's because when somebody brings something up to us, we think in terms of right or wrong, as opposed to we're both right, except it's going to be hard for us to go down the same path because the paths are divergent. So how do we bridge together and reconnect? Yeah. I think the Gottmans are the goats on this. I'm going to start reading more of their books. I really like their books. I really like how they talk about this reconnection piece. And what are the bids for reconnection? How does somebody recognize them and then also receive them?
Receive them. That's a good one.
That's it. Why is it hard for you to receive bids for connections? I'll say why it's hard for me.
I just told you, like, I know we recorded the one before, but I said it's because I'm still a little angry. I'm still need a little time to process what you said and what I said and how to move on from there.
Got it.
So, but what about you? Because sometimes you don't receive my bids. I know you hear them, but you don't receive them.
There's probably a mixture of I don't recognize them. Probably, I mean, that's got to be part of it. I don't like being wrong about it. Even as much as I am a white belt mentality, I'm a lifelong learner. You either win or learn. I believe all that consciously, and those are habits that I've applied into my life. But there's still a piece of something inside of me that it just hates that I'm wrong all the time. Mm-hmm. And that's such a bad frame because I'm not wrong all the time. I
just haven't seen the other side, right?
I'm just different.
Yeah.
And I go, oh shit, that's how you think about it? Like
unaware. Yeah.
There's so many things that you did something yesterday. I hope my brain thinks about it. And
that you didn't like?
I interpreted, my initial interpretation was, what the fuck?
I wonder what it is.
But then I was like, well, hold on, Keith. Could that also mean this? It's like, oh, 100%. Actually, knowing Jesse, it actually meant this. So it was an instant trigger. And I was like, but it could it also mean that? I don't remember. It was something like, I want to eat this food or I want to do this thing. And you're like, oh my God, no. But it wasn't no because you didn't like me. It's because no, you had already eaten and you were full. So it was like, I could have interpreted it through my childhood Keith insecure guy going, oh, she doesn't like me. And it was like, no, I'm full. I don't want to eat. And so it was I have interpreted.
Like, oh my God, I just ate, like something like that.
You're like, oh my God, no.
Oh.
And I don't remember what it was.
Yeah,
I was like, know. I think it was like, do you want me to, I don't even remember, but I could paint a fake picture that's really close to the original. And that is, oh, I'm making this thing. Do you want me to make you something? And you're like, oh my God, no. And my interpretation, like, you don't, wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And not realizing that you just ate a full meal.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, rather than go, oh, I'm so stuffed, I couldn't eat another bite. You're just like, oh my God, no. And I would interpret it as you're saying no to me.
Yeah.
As opposed to, no, I'm full. That is somebody looking through a lens of insecurity. Mm-hmm. That's like looking through the lens of a wound. Yeah, I caught it.
Yeah.
I catch myself doing that shit a lot. Mm-hmm. But that's only because I've done the work of going, wait, pause, consider this. Is there another way? Maybe they meant something different. When I was telling you about a situation I was going through with a friend of mine, and I'm like, oh, he said this, and I kind of interpreted this, and you're like, no, it could actually be the entire opposite thing. I'm like, actually, that makes way more sense. Mm-hmm. And then it releases whatever this thing, and I'm still noticing a pattern. Like, why would I immediately think the worst from my best friends when they say stuff? Mm-hmm. Where did that come from? Mm-hmm. That's an interesting thing. What a horrible fucking way to go through life. You could be prickly to people if you're always thinking that everybody's attacking you. Mm-hmm. Why would I always think everyone's attacking me? That's some bullshit. Mm-hmm. So these are the thought processes that go through my head when it comes to this type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think understanding this piece of reconnection is powerful. I think we should try this. This is my idea. Okay. Tell me what you think. Next time we feel, I know what I've done in the past, and it hasn't worked, and I can see kind of now why. When I go, okay, so if we're a couple and you're coaching us right now, what do you think we should do? And I think what that does is it puts it almost like, all right, well, figure it out. And I don't think you like that. Mm-mm. As opposed to, we could try something to the effect of, hey, I'd really like to reconnect. That, and us recognizing that if the other person does that,
It's a lot of courage to be doing that. And so accept that your partner is doing that because they love you.
That.
Yeah.
And if at a bare minimum, we acknowledge, I recognize you're trying to reconnect.
Yeah, I need a little more time, but
I need some more time.
Yeah.
Because
but
that way.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Like,
wouldn't that be great?
It would. Let's try that.
All right.
Yeah.
You usually come to me. I'll say I need a little more time, but I recognize it. Thank you for doing that. All right.
Yeah.
I can see how that's going to go. And then, I make my second bid for connection. Like, are you hungry? Do you need anything?
Yeah.
A nice kiss on the forehead. That's how we usually.
Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
Good night's sleep. We wake up cheery.
And then we can write down whatever that issue was. Like, try and be as accurate as possible with just a scant bit of notation, and just a scant.
Yeah.
And then we can bring it to our coach and go, hey, we got tapped out on this particular move. How do we defend against it next time? And then that can help us be like, because when it boils right down to it, anything that you and I are mad about, it's not an isolated thing, but we can't isolate and go, oh,
that's
shit,
the root
we really don't like that when we act like that towards each other.
Yeah.
Let's stop that bullshit, even though we don't know how necessarily to, because we both feel pretty, I don't know.
Dogmatic about the situation.
Or really irritated.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta separate that, and let's get back to connecting. Because I think the biggest frustration for men, I don't know if this is the way it is for you, but my biggest frustration is, let's say we get in a fight on a Friday night. And I go, fuck, these next 2 days are the days I'm spending with you guys. I don't want this to be like this cold, chilly, hey, hi.
And that's that anxious style that you have, right? Anticipating the next few days. So we got to fix it. We got to stop it. And then you get more mad at me. Like, you're ruining the night. Nah, fuck it. And then it's even bigger sometimes from that situation too.
So the simple line is, I'd like to reconnect. And the other person can just say, go fuck off. Or, I appreciate the courage. Now go fuck off.
Yep.
Or, I appreciate the courage. You don't have to fuck off, but I'm going to need a little time.
Mm-hmm. Or, thank you for saying that. Reconnect.
Yeah.
Could be anything.
I'm just realizing another energy that's coming up is when somebody does that, they almost want the other person to do it too.
I know it. I just take a little longer than you. That's why.
When you say you take a little longer, what's happening in that process? What are you processing through? Like, what does that look like in your brain, out of curiosity?
I told you I have to think about our conversation.
Yeah.
I have to say, what did he say? Did he understand me fully? Is this going to happen again in the future? Did I say all I had to say so it won't happen again? Did he hear me? Did he understand all?
You know, this desire for it to not happen again, is that realistic?
Absolutely not.
Oh, that's kind of what I was guessing.
It's definitely not, but that's what I think about a lot. I'm like, can we not have this fight again? We had this fight. Can it not happen again? No, it's not realistic at all.
I heard a statistic this week that said 69% of all arguments are recurring about the same thing. Yeah. That seems to be accurate. Mm-hmm. And that the best couples, the one thing that earmarked them, this is again from the Gottman study, the one thing that marked every healthy couple that lasted for a really long time was their ability to reconnect and repair. Like that was, because conflict's inevitable. I saw a guy's post the other day, said he doesn't argue, they have no conflict. And I never heard anybody say that. I've heard
it a few times, but it's so little.
It's not that I don't believe it. I just think if that's the case, somebody, to me, I don't have a study on this, but I've been around a lot of people, and a lot of people talk to us about their couple shit. Yeah. And I would love to hang out with them for an extended period of time and find out who's been silencing their voice.
Right.
That's my gut. Now, this could be legit. It could be real. But it's not that I like conflict with you. I don't. But you know what conflict with you, to me, says about us? again, this is me putting meaning on whatever I want. This is my life. You guys
Okay.
are all just in it.
Give
You
me
know what
the
I mean?
answer.
And same for you guys. That there's enough safety here for us to share our true opinion, regardless if we know it's going to agree or disagree.
Mm.
Now, the conflict might be in how we think. And I'm not saying we should have drop, what are they called? Drop down, knock down, drag out fights.
Mm.
Because I don't think that serves a purpose either. I think staying in emotional control is the key, and having open, honest conversation and be like, you know what? I'm going to have to think about what you said. It's not making sense to me right now. So I'm going to have to go mull on that.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us get so emotionally triggered and we're like so quick
And have a
to,
large ego.
yeah, that I would be curious as to, I don't think we have to be a dickhead while we're having conflict, but if you have no conflict, it just tells me somebody's not sharing their honest truth. Or, and again, I don't know this couple from anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched 3 of their 300 reels in a year. So I don't know anything. But my guess would be one of one of them is a little more submissive than to the other and may not be sharing their truth. But dude, maybe she is.
I don't know.
But if they are, yeah, well, she and the husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I've never heard of a couple like that.
I can think of one, just some random one. I don't even know them like too personally, but you say my mom talking to her, whatever. It's just that they hear each other out and just they don't ever like fight. They talk about things, discuss things. But like I only know one couple who really doesn't like fight, so I don't know.
Have you known them for a long time? Are they older couple, younger
Yeah,
couple?
older. Like their second marriage, and they're older and
Yeah.
chilled out about a lot of things. They don't have kids together, like all the things, right?
I got an interesting question for you.
Tell me now.
What percentage of people do you believe on like a scale of 1 to 100? Like, 9 out of 10 people would be 90%, right? 8 out of 10 people would be 80%. Would, after they hit 35 and older, if they could go back and pick a different spouse, would be like, if I could go back, I'm not saying they could, I'm not saying they can, I'm not saying they have to, but they would go back and be like, I would definitely pick somebody different.
I think that's a large percent of people, and that's why there's so many divorces.
Is
and
large
marriages.
in between 70 and 80, or where does large, is large
90?
on 80? So 9 out of 10 people would pick somebody different, you think?
They would or have, right?
What do you mean?
A lot of people are on their second marriages from their 20s, or divorces. That's a high rate.
Mm-hmm.
They're not with the same person, or they are like, I should have picked a little bit better, or it's not my fully person for the rest of my life. Because like, what do people talk about? It's like getting a Corolla in your teens, and you keep that car for the rest of your life. It's like you got to grow.
Yeah.
So I think it's like 90% of people who have or want to trade in that version.
Yeah. I think you're probably accurate. And I think it's driven by something that is inaccurate. Meaning, I think that the 90% of people that would pick somebody different, I think they really feel that. I think you and I have felt that.
Mm-hmm.
I think what might be driving it might be a bit delusional. And that a large percentage of that 90% probably doesn't have a real honest perspective of actually how they're showing up. I know that was me. I wish Jesse was this. I wish Jesse was that. I wish Jesse was this. God, I would have picked this. And it's like, have you looked at yourself?
Absolutely.
And I think the delusion, and this is really weird because I hear it all the time. I know I'm rabbit holing this, but a lot of guys, I don't know what the percentage would be, but guys that come into married game are like, I always ask the question, hey, is there anything like any hormone issues I need to know about? Any infidelity? Like what are we walking into? Just give me everything. Tell me what's going on. And while a lot of guys have not cheated and have not been unfaithful, a majority of them have said, and I've had plenty of opportunity. And yet, you look at them and you go, no, you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be opportunity to do something with, but it's not because they're their highest and best self. It's because somebody also on a low vibration of frequency was like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I think that I would pick somebody different comes from a lot of delusion and not reality, even though I think it's what a lot of people think.
Ooh, I think you're onto something here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely true.
Which is why when guys come into married game and they go, oh, I am the problem.
Mm.
I heard from our guest this morning who I was interviewing, I'm so excited that the people got to meet him, he said, even if I'm not the problem, I'm 100% always the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. That turn of phrase was really powerful. Even if you're not the problem, you still are the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when people actually start to realize, oh shit, I'm not actually who I think I am. Not in as harsh of objective reality. And not a lot of guys can sit there and listen to their wife go, but you're not this or this or this or this. And they go, even if you're not 100% right and you're 90% right, that's something I need to look into.
And I think that's so necessary before you just call it quits, right? To say the real truth of what you're thinking so that they can be like, they have a chance to change it or not.
Yeah.
Gives that chance.
Yeah, speaking the truth to me has, I think, if I was to boil everything down, that's why it's the code. Hey, just tell the truth. Tell the fucking truth.
Be so honest.
Be honest, because now everybody's playing with all the puzzle pieces. I think why people aren't so honest is they don't want to reveal all their cards or all their puzzle pieces. And for one reason, maybe there's multiple ones. This one seems to be a chief reason. And that is they don't want to give the other person the evidence to prove that they are actually a problem.
Mm.
And I've lied to people about you. You know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, but she's this, she's this, she's this. And it's like, but secretly I'm like, yeah, but you could have done this and could have done this and could have done that. But no, we're not going to talk about that because this other stuff it's obviously this is really important. It's like, yeah, you're probably not seeing it right. That's a hard, you know why that's so hard? Because you spend your whole life trying to build confidence in following the inner voice inside of you and to trust your own inner voice so that you're not tossed to and fro by everybody else's opinion. Because why does other people's opinion matter? And when you feel something so deeply and then you come to realize that it's wrong, it like chips it there as a possibility. I'm not saying it has to be this way, but there's a possibility to go, well, fuck, is anything straight in my head?
Mm-hmm.
Am I right about anything?
Right.
If I'm wrong about this, am I wrong about everything? It's kind of weird, huh?
No, that's such human nature right there.
Yeah.
When you make a wrong decision, you have like decision-making handicap. Like for a while, you're like, I don't know. I made a wrong decision here. What else am I doing?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people go through that like during divorce or when they leave someone, right? Like when I left you, I was like, did I make the right decision? Totally felt that. Now, is every decision wrong? I don't know. But it was right for me in the moment.
With your current best thinking.
Yeah.
This bid for reconnection is a thing that it's if the Gottman say it's the thing, it is the key to having a long-lasting, healthy relationship. That's been my experience too. What are all their findings and all their studies, which are extensive, they are numerous, they are well done. I've seen it to be accurate with us. I've seen it to be accurate with the hundreds of dudes that we've worked with. And it is the thing that causes us to have a sticking point, probably more than anything. And we're actually really good at just agreeing to disagree on shit.
Mm-hmm.
And even we still have a problem reconnecting. I want to dive deeper into this on another episode with some with real example. I want to do more work on this because this seems to be the thing.
How to get over resentment, how to get over sex resentment, how to get over your little fights, your large fights, fights about kids, parenting. Like, that's a big one.
I asked you a question yesterday and you gave an answer that every guy would love to hear. I know you were having some fun with it. I said, what is my favorite body part to you?
It was so random too, because I was like doing my thing, getting ready for bed, and you're like, wait, I have a question, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What's your favorite body part on me? And I was like, your pee-pee.
I said, every guy would love to hear that. Every guy.
And then I was like, what I say? Your arms.
Yeah.
You have nice legs, but your arms. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Wait, what's mine?
What's my favorite on you?
Yeah.
I think you got maybe the nicest set of legs a lady could ever have.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I like your whole body. I think
calves,
your calf, your thigh. I mean, I'm,
I knew it.
Yeah. Yeah. You got really beautiful hands too. There it is.
Waist.
Yeah. Eyebrow model, hand model, calf model,
There you go.
model citizen, example to all.
You
There
just
she
love
is.
me.
I do love you. I do love you a lot. Now I wish you could learn how to reconnect better. Anyhow, don't be a nerd. Spread the word. Continue to keep crushing it. That shit is contagious. And if you are struggling, and you've heard me say it over and over and over again, and I go, hey man, book a call with us. Let's chat. If you are not getting the result that you want, there is no shame in that. Because guess what? It's not your fault. Wait, what, Keith? I thought you said always it's our fault. Well, it is. You are the problem, but it's not your fault in the sense of where else are you hearing this? So many of you guys tune into this podcast and go, I've never heard shit like this. I never heard anybody say it like this. Something happens to me when I hear you guys talk like this. Well, the reason is because this isn't being taught really. I'm not going to say anywhere. There's guys probably talking about it. I don't know.
You've had no examples, right, in your childhood.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And yet, there's a reason why it's resonating with you, and there's a reason why these mindset shifts are happening to you, and it's because there is still hope in your relationship. There is still hope in what you've got going on. But if you keep denying that little voice speaking into your heart, if you keep pushing it off and go, I'm going to do it later. It's not a good time. I'm going to do it later. What you're just saying to the universe, to God, to the internal intelligence, to whatever, you're saying it's not that big of a deal right now. And if it's not that big of a deal right now for you to handle, it's only going to get worse, and it keeps getting worse. And here's the biggest trick that I think happens to guys.
You don't want to wait too late till it's too late.
The decay, the rot starts. The rot starts to. It doesn't mean we can't cut the rot out and still make something beautiful with the wood that's still there.
But wouldn't they want to stop it as soon as possible?
Well, here's what I think tricks up most guys is it goes bad and then it gets good. They go, oh, I figured it out. And then we had a guy, I'm going to tell a really funny little story. We had a guy come into the program, and on our talk with him, it was really clear he hadn't been laid like he wanted in a very long time, and he was really feeling it. So he came into the program, and what they do is they go through the modules, and then they book a one-on-one call with me after that, so we can go, okay, what did you learn? And now let's build the game plan. And this is the first time this had ever happened to me, so I was actually caught off a little guard. I was actually caught off guard by this, and he was like, I can't do this. I can't commit to like showing up to the calls. I can't, but then he goes, and I'm already doing some of this. And I'm like, if you were already doing literally any of this, your wife would love you. And he goes, well, what's interesting is, I've got laid a few times from this, and I don't know why. But he's like, I can't do this. I need to get out of the program. And his excuses and how he talked, my heart just broke for his wife. Because I'm like, this is exactly why you're literally displaying the behavior to me that is making your wife's lady boner go totally away. And what happened was he watched the modules, and whenever you watch these modules, it energetically shifts you because you can't unsee this shit. And I didn't pick it up on the call. I mean, his victim like was so thick that normally I would try and fight for a guy to stay in our program because I'm like, bro,
You're fighting for his life.
I feel like I love him enough to fight for his life.
Yeah.
But his victimhood mentality was so off-putting to me. It was so bad. And I was like, I cannot help you. I genuinely can't help you because everything that you've just said showed me that, wow, you don't get any of this.
Yeah. That's sad.
It broke but it was the first time that I felt like I gave up on a guy. Because normally I won't give up on a guy. But when it's that victimhood, we had a guy come through the program, and his name was Chaz a long time ago. And remember him? And I would tell him what to do, and then he would be like, well, what did Jesse say? And you would be like, it's exactly what I said. You should go do it.
He didn't want to do it.
It just wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do it.
And so we have a statement in our program, hashtag don't be a Chaz. But, and this is, I realized, I thought I gave up on him, but I realized I didn't. I had to protect the rest of the people.
You dodged a bullet.
So he doesn't just come in. And I told him, I said, honestly, it would be really annoying to be your coach. And I'm going to have.
He wouldn't listen.
Yeah, you won't listen. And for a guy that doesn't have the result he wants to come in with thinking he knows it all, it's just mind blowing to me. But that is the trick guys fall into. They get a little result and go, oh, I'm doing it.
I'm good.
And then they're going to go back. And
especially because he watched all your modules.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, no, I got this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it on my own.
Yeah. And so when you watch a man step in a big pile of cow shit without his boots on, and now it's getting into his socks and into his things, you just like, oh man, you're going to have a really stinky walk from here on out. But it's that delusion. That's the delusion that keeps men into this. So if you are that guy and you're like, I want to put it off. Now it's not the right time. Hey, don't be that guy. Take action. Jump on. Book a call. Let's have a conversation. You might be one simple tweak away to getting everything that you want. And yet, most men, I don't believe they can actually believe they deserve it or they can get it. And yet here we are. We have hundreds of guys that have gotten exactly what we're talking about and are thrilled to death. So that being said, keep crushing it. That shit is contagious.